Hi, we're Ellie and David. Join us as we overland the Americas in Yak, our Land Rover Defender.
Yak's already taken us across Europe and Central Asia, but this expedition will be our biggest challenge yet.
We're overlanding from the southern tip of Argentina all the way to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. Follow along as we experience all the extremes and beauty of a simple life on the road in our Pan-American adventure. After we left Parachi, we spent the night in yet another petrol station, then reluctantly left Yak behind for the day and caught a ferry over to the tropical paradise of Ilha Grande. We'd always planned to slow down and have a mini holiday in this section of Brazil, and it's a good job we did because in a few days' time our life looked a bit more like this. One wrong move and we could be in the ditch. Whoa, 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 you're drifting in the back. But more on that later.
After we left the island yesterday, we headed to Rio and we are in the middle of the city. We found a spot just in a car park right next to a lagoon. It's about a mile up from Copacabana beach. Pretty noisy, but nice to be able to sleep in the middle of the city. We're going to go and see Christ the Redeemer today and have a little wander along Copacabana beach. We're actually meeting my aunt and uncle later who are doing a bit of travelling of their own around South America. I did go for a run this morning around the lagoon. It's about a 4-mile circuit, but the humidity is just on another level. I really struggled. It was about 25 degrees at 6:30 in the morning. Really nice to spend some time with my aunt and uncle last night. We went out for a meal with them, had a little walk along Copacabana, and today we've covered a bit of ground on the way to Iguazu Falls, and we've just come to a laundrette to do a much needed clothes wash. Another night in a petrol station. We're about 14 hours away from Iguazu Falls, so that's what Google Maps is saying, but with the Land Rover it could be 16, 17 hours. We're hoping to do maybe 8-9 hours of driving today before it gets dark, and then wake up a bit earlier tomorrow morning and cover the rest of the ground.
We've covered a lot of ground over the past few days. I think we've done about 800 miles in 2 days. A lot of it between Rio and here was kind of quite like flat and farmlandy, and there weren't many places that we were too bothered about stopping in. So we thought we'd just push on to Iguazu, which is where we are now. Well, we're just outside the tourist information. I think we're about, is it 20 minutes-ish away? So yeah, really excited. We're trying to work out what we're going to do with the camera because we're not sure how kind of misty and damp it's going to be. So maybe we'll take the GoPro, but we'll try and get some footage. The falls were absolutely incredible. It's such a mind-blowing volume of water and in the most beautiful setting. You're able to visit Iguazu Falls on the Argentinian side as well, which actually has the larger portion of the falls. Both sides offer a slightly different experience and their own pros, but we'd heard that the Brazilian side gives the best impression of the sheer scale of it. I switched to filming with my phone at this point as I was a bit worried about the camera and the humidity, so the quality's not the best, but hopefully we've managed to capture something of the epicness. As with most famous natural wonders, it was absolutely rammed with people, in fact possibly the busiest place we've ever been. It probably didn't help that it was a bank holiday too, but of course the busyness didn't take away from the impressive views and definitely shouldn't stop you visiting. It's just one of those places you can't quite do justice to, even if you have a very good camera, and we'd absolutely recommend seeing it with your own eyes if you ever have the chance.
We have officially left Brazil. We've joined the queue for Argentina. A lot easier to get out of Brazil. We did it in about 10 minutes. We've just got to sort out the temporary import permit and get our passport stamped.
We had such an amazing time in Brazil. I'm so glad we came. Because it wasn't always necessarily going to be part of the plan, just because it was a little bit kind of out of the way, and we always imagined ourselves just going from, south to North America. But it just made sense because Jack was going into Montevideo and it was so close by. We were like, we've got to do it. So we haven't had loads of time here, but we're really pleased with what we've managed to fit in. We've done kind of the hills, slightly mountainous area. We've done national parks, beaches. Had a few nice chill beach days, which has been good. Rio, obviously. So I feel like we've packed quite a lot in, but also had a bit of time to relax. So it's just been such a good time.
And caipirinhas.
And caipirinhas.
So a pretty straightforward border crossing. It took about an hour and a half, but it was about, I think, 20 minutes on the Brazilian side, and then we were waiting a little bit to sort out our temporary import permit on the Argentinian side. Driven for about an hour and found a really nice spot. We'll pretend that there isn't a petrol station in the background. But got here nice and early. Ellie's going to cook up some dinner. I think we're having salad and gnocchi. And then tomorrow we're heading towards Ruta 21, just kind of a track mainly just for 4x4s through the jungle. Very excited for that. Looking forward to eating, getting an early night and waking up to this.
The majority of the track so far has been quite like stony and rocky, so we've not had any problems with traction, but occasionally you'll get these soft bits of mud for 100, 200 metres where it'll start sliding and just sort of lose its grip a little bit. The tyres are fine, Jack's held his line so far. Someone's obviously been here before us and has gone sort of all over the place. Taking it very slowly.
It's quite a big gully next to us, so I'm just slightly worried we might slide towards that. For the whole length of the track so far, we've been following other people's tracks through the mud, mostly caterpillar tracks from, I assume, logging trucks. But for the first time now, we are the freshest tracks, which is slightly disconcerting, but I'm sure we'll be fine. I forgot to say that I had the worst bee sting ever earlier. It was so painful. Yeah, and about an hour later and it's still hurting quite a lot. But I feel like I've had the full jungle experience now.
Don't know if the camera picks it up, but coming up the track.
Oh dear. Okay, we good?
Yeah. Coming up the track are some paw prints. We're hoping it's a jaguar, I'm hoping we're going to see one.
I don't know if you can see, but we were so close to going into that ditch at the side of the road just now. We felt ourselves drifting, so just really gently reversed back down our track. It's obviously getting quite dark now, so we're really keen to get off the track and back onto the road. But we also don't want to rush anything because, yeah, one wrong move and we could be in the ditch. So just taking a moment to figure out how we're going to do this next bit and hopefully won't be on the track for too much longer.
So I'm thinking I want to go further to the right because the slope goes off that way to the left. If we end up in the ditch, obviously we get stuck. I don't think we'll roll, but we just don't want to get stuck. If we go too far to the right, we'll end up in this ditch, and it's going to be a struggle to get out of our tyre marks because once they've been made, you can't really get out of them in this sort of mud. So I'm going to try and veer off to the right slightly, and if that works out, great. If not, we'll take our time, we'll go slowly.
At this point, the track got a bit less fun as we continually got stuck and were really struggling to drive more than 5 metres at a time in the pitch black. Google Maps told us the track would take 2.5 hours, so we thought we were being quite sensible when we set off with a 5-hour window before sunset, but it ended up taking over 7 hours in the end. We knew the jungle could be a real challenge, but this experience was a lesson in quite how brutal it can be. Just so close to going in that ditch. I don't think the waffle boards will do anything though, because the tyres are so caked.
Might do something. Momentum is sometimes your friend. It's a risk because we don't want to obviously then get to kind of where we got stuck last time and start drifting off. I've done a track before back home that's really, really muddy. Momentum does help, but it's kind of almost got a gully that's already there for you. We don't want to kind of get through the tracks we've already made and then start drifting. Tried getting out of our tracks, it's just not working, it's not happening.
Well done, Yak.
I gotta go get the waffle balls and they weigh about 40 kilos with all the mud.
The track's got pretty bad again. It's fairly flat here, there's a little bit of a gradient, but we just keep getting bogged and the back keeps drifting out towards this quite big ditch on the left here. Whoa, 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 you're drifting in the back. I was starting to worry, you were gone for so long.
I went back so far, I just couldn't see them. Obviously we've got black waffle balls. I understand why everyone gets the orange ones now, but carrying them back, it must be 50 plus kilos. Insanely heavy.
This thing is nearly the size of my hand. The amount of bugs at the moment, and most of them are on my legs. David, there are lights. Can you see them?
Oh, they're still a way off, but...
That must be the village. No way, is this it? I think this is the end. And it's tarmac.
Stop the Garmin at 7 hours, 34 minutes, 53 seconds, and 81 split seconds.
Good job.
I need a shower.
Yeah, let's get some food.